Welcome to Sportscaster News. I'm Lawrence Owen, your host. And today we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and possibly Jadeveon Clowney joining them. Now that's a name that's popped up occasionally here and there, and we all kind of wonder, would Jadeveon really fit with Philadelphia? What would be the effect of Clowney joining this defense for the Philadelphia Eagles? Now, I wanted to really put my thought process into this because I don't think Jadeveon is needed on the front lines of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that their front seven is probably the strength of this team. When you go and you look at their defense, and you got guys like Brandon Graham and Derek Barnett already at their defensive ends, with Hargrave and Fletcher Cox obviously sitting there in the middle. They have a very solid front four. I think they could use extra help in the linebacker area. Gary Brown Singleton. Those are guys that I believe could be upgraded more so. But who's to say that they won't go out and throw some money out in that general vicinity? Philadelphia Eagles have $24 million in cap space right now, and some of their bigger names, most of their bigger names, are already signed for the next couple years. The GM of the Eagles have done a great job of paying their players and putting this team around for long-term success. Could they sign Jadeveon Clowney? Absolutely. Will they? I think the only reason that they would sign Jadeveon Clowney is if Clowney would take a bit of a pay cut of what he wants. I could see maybe Philadelphia offering somewhere between $13 and $15 million. And if Clowney took that, he would definitely make this team better. I think it would make this team a win-now team. They're already really good on the defense. I mean, they went out and picked up an additional cornerback to kind of help Jalen Mills back there. Darius Slay, right? They got Darius Slay from Detroit. What a help. And their offense is great. Granted, I think their offense is one of the best in the NFL. The only issue is Carson Wentz. This team will only go as far as Carson Wentz will take them. If he gets hurt, Nate Sudfeld is not Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts is a rookie. I mean, and don't expect Jalen Hurts to walk in and just become a superstar if Wentz becomes hurt or something. You just don't see that happening. Miles Sanders is a very good running back. He's one of them little, quick, shifty kind of guys. Very, very fast. Great out of the backfield. Alshon Jeffrey, Marquise Goodwin. Two wide receivers that have not really stepped up to where they should have, where a lot of people wanted them to be, but still solid receivers in their own right. Deshaun Jackson. Obviously, we have yet to see what happens with him with his anti-Semitic posts over the course of the last week. So we don't know what that is. We don't even know if they're going to fully just drop him from the team. We don't know yet. We know that they have sent out notifications stating that they are going to be disciplining him. But what that discipline is has not been said yet. Obviously, they also picked up Jalen Reagor in the draft. And they already have Goddard and Ertz at the tight end position. And then, of course, year after year after year, Jason Kelce and the rest of this offensive line is listed top 5 in run blocking and pass blocking. So, if everything falls together, this offense could be very, very good. Very, very good. I mean, just last year alone, Philadelphia, let's see here, was ranked what? 11th? 1, 2, 3. 14th. I'm sorry. They were 14th in the NFL in yards They had 239 yards through the air and 121 yards on the ground. Now, with the wide receiving core that you expect, you would think this team would be better in the air. 239, I mean, that's about NFL average, right? That's very odd. That's incredibly odd that you're seeing something like that. Whereas you got teams like Tampa Bay and Dallas who are pushing around 300 yards a game through the air. I think that has a lot to do with why Jalen Reagor was brought in. We all know that Deshaun Jackson's been in the league a long time. He's still very, very fast. But he's not going to be in the league a whole lot longer. And, of course, we don't know if he'll even be on the team tomorrow. Who knows? And Alshon Jeffrey and Marquise Goodwin, again, above average receivers, but not great or elite receivers. And they're going to need that. Not necessarily as much as what you would think if they had Jadeveon Clowney on their team, however. Think about having Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham are already that flip duo on the left defensive end. If they went out and spent 13 to 15 million on Jadeveon Clowney, which will still leave them over $10 million left on their cap space to kind of fiddle with if they need. Oh my gosh. They already have one of the best run defenses in the NFL, and that's saying something. That's saying a lot. Because you got to think about the fact that Philadelphia gave up an average of only 90 yards a game on the ground. They were number 3, I think, in the NFL. Yeah, which is kind of messed up. You wouldn't think that Tampa Bay and the Jets had the best run defenses in the NFL, but they were. Philadelphia was number 3, giving up only 90 yards a game on the ground. 90. And what says a lot about that is the division they're in. Twice a year, they go up against Adrian Peterson. Twice a year, they go up against Ezekiel Elliott. Twice a year, they go up against Saquon Barkley. I mean, come on. 3 of the biggest names in the run games in the NFL. And they go up against them twice a year each. And yet they're only giving up 90 yards a game, average. That says a lot for their run defense. You're still here? Awesome! Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. That way, you're known when I come up with a new video here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I plan on going live starting this Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Conversations, man. You want to know what we're going to have that conversations for? Right down here where it says Twitter. Type that into your web browser. Give me a follow. Everything that I talk about, anything that I am getting ready to post, any kind of video that I'm getting ready to stream or upload, you'll find out when I type that right out there on Twitter, man. Don't forget sportscaster.com. That's my actual job. That's where I work, right? I am Sportscaster NFL News. Me, Joe Nubo, Ray Rout, we discuss all sorts of stuff NFL news related every day. So don't forget, I appreciate you watching me here, but you can get a lot more information in these little links here. Don't forget, check out the description below because At the very bottom of that description is where you can support my channel and help ensure that my content continues to be uploaded and broadcasted to you so that you know exactly what's going on in the NFL. Now let's get back to the video. Now their pass defense, that's a different story. They're giving up more yards through the air than they're acquiring themselves on offense. They're giving up 241, almost 242 yards per game last season. That's why they got that trade with Detroit for Darius Slay to help that kind of level out their defense. Their defense might already be, their defense total will be top 5 in the NFL, in my opinion, this year. Just because of Darius Slay going there and helping that out. If they get Jadeveon Clowney, who easily is an upgrade over most players at the defensive end position. Now, is he a deep upgrade over Brandon Graham or Derek Barnett? I think he's an upgrade over Brandon Graham. But not by a lot. And maybe not by as much as what he's worth. I don't like the idea of Jadeveon Clowney going to Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia could put their money somewhere else. Now, there isn't a lot of cornerback help out there right now in the free agency market. That's where I think they need their biggest help in that. But what else can they do? They could run a lot of 5-2 defensives. Have 5 men on that defensive line. That'd be scary. That'd be a lot. Just guaranteed 5 powerhouse people right there up front. Or maybe Jadeveon Clowney or Derek Barnett might be able to step back into that Sam linebacker position in the 4-3 defense that they have. That could be an interesting thought as well, because the Sam linebacker in the 4-3 is more of a run-stopping, edge-setting type position. But I don't think Jadeveon Clowney would go for that, because he's looking for stats. He's looking for a long-term contract with big money. And in order to get that, he needs stats, right? Which means he needs pass rush. He needs to get sacks. Not just pressures like he's had over his career. He needs actual sacks. And he's not going to get that being at the Sam linebacker position, because he's going to be expected to set edges a lot and defend against the run, which he does incredibly well. But unless he is able to almost guaranteed 50% of defensive snaps on pass rush, now I mean total, not his own snaps. I mean total snaps on defense set to him as pass rush, I don't see him signing with any team, especially the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles could go to this. They are definitely a playoff team. And with what they have right now, I think that they could be a Super Bowl team. Granted, I think that the Dallas Cowboys have a better offense than them. The Eagles' defense is better than the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys will take this division. But I do believe that the Eagles are a solid number 2 here. Depending. Now, this is completely depending on what the Giants end up looking like with Daniel Jones in his sophomore season. Because Daniel Jones, if he could step it up, protect that football a little bit better, not put it on the ground 17 freaking times in one season, I think Daniel Jones could actually make a very big impression on this team. As I already said, their pass defense isn't top notch. We'll see what it's like with Darius Slay here on the Eagles, but quite frankly, Daniel Jones is a playmaking quarterback. He just had issues holding on to the football, and that offensive line was just Swiss cheese for him, which is completely understandable as why he fumbled it. But he shouldn't fumble it all the time just because he's getting hit. He still needs to learn how to protect that football, hold it on with 2 hands, and not drop it. I think So for now, basically, what I'd like to say is I don't believe that Jadeveon Clowney to the Eagles is something that we want to see. So, I don't know. Eagles fans out here that are watching this, would you like to see Jadeveon Clowney on Philadelphia? I don't think he'd be worth the upgrade for the money. Not when you got two very good defensive ends already. Three, actually, decent defensive ends on this team. You got a good rotation right now. Jadeveon will increase the production there, but I don't know if it'll increase it by the amount that you're spending on him. I want to thank, you're looking at the Mania, Mitchie Sports, Jetsman45 for joining the stream here on Sportscaster. Now, what am I looking at with Philly? Why am I not as high on Philly as what I think I should be? And that, quite frankly, it's Carson Wentz. Nick Foles is obviously no longer on Philadelphia Eagles to step into that backup role if and when, and I put big quotes around the when, Wentz goes down injured. Now, last year, I believe that Carson Wentz actually did pretty good. I don't think he got hurt too much last year, or if at all. From what I'm looking right now, he started all 16 games, which is the first time he's done that since his rookie season back in 2016. The one bad thing that he had was his touchdown percentage was only a 4.4, but he has an incredibly low 1.2 interception percentage, which is unbelievable. He could get that completion percentage up, though. It's still under 64%. Last year, in his 11 games, he pushed near 70% completion. This year, he took a massive drop back at less than 64%. He still broke 4,000 yards for the first time in his career last season. But being able to play all 16 games certainly helped that. He was sacked 37 times, which is not terrible, but it's not the best either. Some of your high-end sack people that got sacked were in the 50s, whereas your low guys were in the 20s. That's kind of mid-range, right? But also, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he likes to hold on to the football, try to extend plays, look downfield. Try to make something happen when there is nothing there to be had, rather than just checking it down when he needs to a running back or something like that, or even throwing the football away and just living to see another down. That is a bit of a flaw that Carson Wentz has, and that's why Carson Wentz has had his injury problems over the course of the years, because he extends it and holds on to the football far too much, very much the way Andrew Luck used to do so, and because of that, it increases his chance to get hurt. I'd like to see him throw the football away a lot more, or just dump the football off to an open running back or something out on the flat. I think that's a much better option than holding on to it, especially since your entire team, this entire Philadelphia Eagles team, is relying on your health this year. Because, like I said, you do not have Nick Foles no more. And Jalen Hurts is not that guy. I'm telling you. He's not. Sudfeld is not that guy. If they lose Wentz to injury for even 3 games, there's a chance you won't win any of them. Because this team is based on the pass offensively. This team is based on airing that football out and scoring with dynamic plays. Look at who's on the team. I mean, you're looking at Ertz, Rager, Jackson. Those are fast, down-the-field type wide receivers. Alshon Jeffrey's more of a possession receiver, which is nice. He's supposed to be that number one your typical number one wide receiver, but Deshaun Jackson obviously overtakes him. I think Zach Ertz actually overtakes Alshon Jeffrey in that aspect as well. As good as an offensive line that they have, they just can't hold off a defense. They can't be expected to hold a defense off for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, play in, play out. They just can't be expected to do that. And the danger doesn't come from what you see coming in front of you. It's from what you see coming at you on your blind side. Carson Wentz doesn't see blind side movement. And that's where the weakness of this line is, coming off his blind side. Lane Johnson, Driscoll, Kelsey, those are your better. From center to right is his better strength. I don't think that Isaac and Andre is as good as what they need at that position. And that's his blind side, and that's scary. Especially for a tall, thin, lanky quarterback who holds on to the ball and moves around as much as he does. I think it would be much better if they kind of adjusted their passing game into more of a quick strike passing game rather than hit them downfield. So I want to thank everyone that's joined me here on Sportscaster. Phil's Devil's Adam, thanks for joining the stream. Oh yeah, I love what Miles Sanders can do, but he's still not. He's not in the same level as the rest of the running backs of that division. You know what I'm saying? He's not an Adrian Peterson type guy who could just run it up the middle and just beat a defense to death. He's not Saquon Barkley who could do the same thing, or Ezekiel Elliott who can do the same thing. He's still that flashy, kind of quick step running back, in my opinion. Can he take it up the gut? Yes. But is that saying because of what he could do, or is that saying because up the middle of that offensive line for the Eagles is just that good and allows him yards before contact? That's just my thought process on that. I think that Hurts, I think Jalen Hurts will be an interesting addition with Carson Wentz. I'd like to see a little bit of some option plays with both Wentz and Hurts on the field at the same time. Both possibly in the backfield. See, like having 3 guys in the backfield. That would be quite interesting. Having Miles Sanders, Carson Wentz, and Jalen Hurts sitting back there, and then you have a direct snap to somebody and then see what happens. I think the Eagles and the Colts are actually quite similarly set up. I think the Colts are actually better on the ground overall. I think the Eagles are better set up for the pass than the Colts. I think defensively, I think they're very, very similar at this point in time. I think similarly, I think the Indianapolis Colts front 7 is probably top 5 in the NFL. And I think the Eagles are similar, but I think they could be better at linebacker. I think the Eagles need a little bit better at the linebacking position than what they have. But their front line, that D-line of the Eagles is just nasty. I mean, they have a very, very good rotation on all 4 positions of that defensive line. And that's where the strength of this defense comes in. And it helps Pederson, Doug Pederson, in calling game plans, because he knows that front 4 of that D-line will do their job game in and game out. They will be able to stop the run. They will be able to get pressure. That'll allow him to adjust his linebackers to wherever he needs to have them. It'll allow him to adjust his safeties to wherever he needs to have them. That is the huge benefit of having so much depth on the D-line that the Eagles have. And I would like to thank you for putting your thoughts into that. And as usual, I'm Lawrence Owen for Sportscaster News, and I want you to have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.